Oh. Are you ready? Okay. Oh, wonderful. Okay. So I'd like to call to order the Oak Harbor Arts Commission meeting for March 12th. Oh, hey, for JR. And for roll call, position 1, Joseph, and pronounce your last name for me. Andrade, wonderful, great. Second position, J.R. Russell is online. We see him walking around.
JR, can you hear us? Can you hear us, JR?
It's the JR show.
Don't think he can hear us.
There he goes. Oh,
Robert's waiting for a while.
Yep. Robert's trying to get in.
well, we,
Cannot hear us.
he can't hear us.
It says because the mic.
Does somebody have access to text messaging that or comments that for JR to, we can reach him to check his mic?
Or if you could text us chat too.
Can you guys hear me now?
Ah, yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay, I got everybody.
Okay, good. Position 3, Robert Sanders. I think also online.
Yes, ma'am, present.
Wonderful, thank you. If you have a chance, please, we'd love to see your face. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Position 4, Valerie Steely.
Present.
Position 5, Cynthia Mason.
Here.
Position 6, Tracy Davidson. Here. Position 7 is vacant at this time. Student member Reese Wassinger is not here. Is she online? No. So she would be absent. And then our council member, Sandy Peterson. Wonderful. So first want to approve our agenda. Under number 5, we have up until listing of G on the second page. So is this an agenda that is meeting our approval for today?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second that.
Wonderful, thank you.
Tracy, I will have to leave a little bit early, so I'll excuse myself about 6:40.
Thank you for letting us know. Thank you, Cynthia. Now I'd like to approve the Art Commission February meeting minutes. Has everybody had a chance to look at it? Are there any corrections that need to be made? If not, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second you.
Thank you. And next, we'll have public comment.
You're going to take a vote.
Oh, thank you for the rules, okay. Like to vote on the approval of the minutes from February 12th. All approve? Wonderful, thank you. Was somebody trying to say something? Oh, perfect, okay, good. So public comment. We do have one public comment, and we want to acknowledge that comment. That we have received. And I understand that those comments do receive answers from the city. Okay, great, wonderful. And is there anybody in the public arena here that would like to step forward and make any comments? No, wonderful, great. So we'll move on then to our first item of of discussion and action is we have our mayor in attendance, and he would like to acknowledge a recognition to some very well-deserved ladies over there.
All right. Well, thank you very much for allowing me to be here with you all this evening. It's a pleasure to be here. I get to be here to recognize a couple folks that mean a lot to me, personally and professionally, and I also get to go over the advisory board roles and expectations with you all. But first, we're going to recognize a couple of people that mean a lot to me and who have done a lot for our community over the last decade plus for our community. So first, we're going to recognize Carla Fruin. I would like to recognize former Arts Commissioner Carla Fruin for her dedicated service and advocacy for the arts in our community. Since 2008, Carla has been a passionate champion for arts and culture in Oak Harbor, supporting local artists, promoting public art, and helping create opportunities that inspire creativity across our community. Through her leadership, collaboration, and many years of volunteer service, she has strengthened community connections and helped shape the vibrant cultural identity of our city. We extend our sincere gratitude to Carla for her lasting contributions and commitment to the arts in Oak Harbor. And as a token of mine and the city's appreciation, I have some flowers, a t-shirt, and a certificate and a pin to present to you. So. You're not off the hook either. Keep going. So. So next is another close person to me personally, is Ms. Therese Kingsbury. I would like to recognize former Arts Commissioner Therese Kingsbury for her passionate leadership and dedicated service to the arts in our community. Therese has been a strong and enthusiastic advocate for arts and culture in Oak Harbor, bringing energy, candor, and determination to her work. Her voice and vision have helped spark important conversations, inspire collaboration, and move initiatives forward that strengthen our city's cultural landscape. We are grateful for her commitment and for the meaningful role as she has played in enriching the cultural life of Oak Harbor. Therese, thank you very much. Josh, don't take a picture.
JR.
Oh, you want to take a picture together? I'm sorry. So we're going to take one more picture together. Sorry. He
JR.
wants pictures all the time, so.
Hey, hey, I just want to comment, boy, that's a lovely mural in the background there. How did that come about?
That mural is there because of Miss Therese right over there. Thanks, Carla. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll go on to our second of roles and expectations presentation, also by our mayor.
Yeah, so as promised earlier in the year, I was going to be attending all of the advisory boards and commissions to go over roles and expectations. Just to kind of do a little refresher with everyone to make sure everyone's on the same page, as well as have a conversation this time of year around what the roles are and to cement those in place, because we're heading into a budget cycle at the city here. So as you guys are thinking about what your priorities are, it's important for you to hear about what council's priorities are so that you're working in tandem and those things are coming back to council and we're all working in unison. I'm very proud of my leadership team as well as all of the staff at the city because we're getting a lot done at the city, more so, I think, than we've gotten done in many years past. So very proud of that and just look forward to continuing to move that forward. So we're here to just kind of reinforce what your roles are, and I'm here to also just address any questions that you might have as it relates to the board itself. So moving on, flip over for me there, Tim. We're going to just give you a basic overview. This is from the MRSC website. We are a mayor-council form of government where policy and administration are separated. The mayor elected at large to serve as the city's chief executive officer and has the administrative authority, including the power to veto. We point this out because we hear a lot of times in meetings or in different places where, well, why is this happening this way? Or why isn't it done like this and like it's done in another city? Well, depending upon the city, they may have a different form of government than we do. So this is how we operate in this city based upon our elected body. So that's why it's important that we point that out to you to understand that. Next slide. The council is the legislative body of our government. City council serves as a separate elected legislative body. All legislative and policy-making powers are vested in the city council. So that's why we have one of those individuals that's a part of your commission. Councilmember Peterson is a part of your board. She's very enthusiastic. She's a newly elected council member, a couple months now. She's jumped in with both feet. She's one of the more diligent council members. She reads everything. She's very thoughtful in asking questions and making sure that she's thinking about everything and keeping things into perspective and also advocating for you guys as a commission as well. So very excited to have her as part of council. Council member assigned to the advisory board commission, like I just mentioned, sorry, I kind of got ahead of myself, provides communication between city council and advisory board to the commission, shares insight to advisory board or commission about council process or priorities. So again, what you guys talk about here, she brings back to council. I ask her to report out, just like I ask all other council members to report out what's going on their commissions. And then we have an insight as an entire body of council as to what's going on across all areas of the boards and commissions. And it's an opportunity for everyone to have input in the different areas and discussion. It's also an opportunity for people to see how things are working or maybe not working, and maybe where we need to pivot and take a different stance and move things in a different direction. So the role is very important. It's important for you all to be advocating to her. It's important for her to ask questions and make sure that she feels like she's involved in the process and bringing those things back to council and advocating for you as well. And I think it's super beneficial when you have somebody that's showing up and doing the work like she does. So, yeah. Advisory boards and commissions, they advise the legislative bodies, city council, on a wide range of policy issues. Some are designed by statute for a specific purpose, such as a planning, salary, and civil service commission. Others are authorized by statute. Local governing bodies can decide if they need to create boards or commissions. Membership may also be determined by statute. One of the things that I always like to point out to you all, I take all of your participation on these boards and commissions very seriously. I appreciate all of your time that you put in. I recognize that this is all volunteer time. You're not paid real well for the work that you're doing. And that I consider you a part of my administration. You're all part of the team that I have at the city that's moving the city forward and accomplishing the things that we need to accomplish. We have the beautiful mural behind you that happened in this administration. We have the beautiful angel that happened, as a part of this commission. There are a lot of things that have happened as a result of the Arts Commission. We've wrapped utility boxes. There's a lot of things, and I know that you guys have a lot of great ideas that you're going to continue to bring forward in the next year or two, and more as you continue to work on things. So it's exciting to hear what those are going to be. All right. Where are we at? Advisory boards and commissions, roles, decision-making input and providing input, studying issues, plans, policies, making planning processes more inclusive, facilitating communication between elected officials and community. So those are all of the things that you do. I think that most of you, how long have you been on here for more than a year already? Yeah, all of you pretty much, except for one, it looks like. So I can't see. Yeah, I know, JR, I know you have. Most of you have, you're familiar with this. So, and for those of you that are new, you have a lot of historical knowledge that is on the commission, and I encourage you to lean on those folks. So, but there's a lot of great things that come out of this commission specifically too. So, next slide. Governing, Oak Harbor Municipal Code is what governs us. Bylaws reviewed annually and updated at council direction, and policies. So those are the main things that guide what we do. Those are the things that I'm most concerned with. I'm always gleaning how we're operating, what we're doing, and making sure that we're operating within those parameters to make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to do, what we're allowed to do. It's just to point out to you all. City staff, this is one of my favorite things to talk about. Oversight. Liaison to receive and facilitate information, feedback, comments, requests, funding. So city staff are really the individuals that are doing all the work, and they're bringing things to you all as a commission. And then you guys are helping to provide the feedback from a community perspective, and then it's fine-tuned, and then it's brought to council. City staff is doing what I like to say, the lion's share of the work. We have, I don't know how well all of you know or have gotten to know the city staff, but I encourage you to get to know them. Not just the folks that show up here and work as part of your meetings, but just all of them. We have a dedicated group of professionals at this city that I'm very proud of, and it's an honor for me to be able to represent them on a daily basis and in capacity as mayor. I'm very fortunate to have this job because they make me look very good, and all I do is show up to work every day. So I'm very appreciative of them. All right, next slide. Public records. This is something that's important just to be aware of. Public records officer is the city contact for records. Requests include meeting minutes, videos, notes, emails, text messages, phone calls, etc. So anything that you're keeping during meetings and doing, you are responsible to maintain those things and provide those things. Should those things be requested through a public records request, we have a public records officer. And if that request should come into the city, they would facilitate that process through you to guide you through what you would need to do in providing that information. But it's just something for you to be aware of, that you are required to have those things and provide those things if you have them. So training, you are introduced to this through the Open Public Meetings Act training that you go through every 2 years. So you all are familiar with it. You may not remember it. You can revisit that at any time, I believe, right? If you want to. So in case you don't remember, you're welcome to take that training again. So, but it does touch upon the public records piece, and that's the most significant piece, I think, to you all. I think that people forget sometimes. I know in one of the other commissions that I've given this presentation on, one of the questions that came to us was about subcommittees and can we have those and why can't we do those? And it's not that you can't have subcommittees, but we need to make sure that we're doing the work in those subcommittees in a transparent way and maintaining the historical documentation for public records purposes so that it's available to the public. So we need to make sure that we're being careful and accurate in the way that we're taking care of that information. So that's the big piece. Next slide. Oh, that's the end. Questions, comments? Yeah. Short and sweet.
Cynthia?
So back to subcommittees.
Yes.
I'm hoping tonight we can pinpoint a couple of workshops that are outlined as suggested in the art plan that was adopted last July.
Okay.
And it's important to us as a group that those workshops are timed with the budgeting process of the city, because they are intended to review ideas submitted to date. And that's why it's biannually, so we can see them twice.
Sure.
A lot of the ideas that are in the queue right now were tabled from last year because we wanted to get to document before and processes before we brought new ideas forward for ranking, if you would.
Yeah.
Part of that conversation was after the plan was dissolved, the subcommittees that were formed around that activity went away, and the only subcommittee still in existence is our subcommittee with Maggie for outreach. And that was Carla and I. Carla's gone now, but at the workshop that's hopefully scheduled, that topic would be addressed. and I hope that agrees with what you just outlined for us. In addition to that, as outreach, we have taken, Maggie's kept notes, and that would be something going forward, that if any other subcommittee was created,
Yeah.
that even if it was a checklist of items discussed, we could submit those to Kim as part of record for our minutes
Yeah.
for the following meeting's approval.
Yeah.
And are we on track with that?
Yeah, I think so. And then one of the other things I think that you can keep in perspective, you know, something that we've talked about as a staff and that we're going to go back and talk about with the specific commission that brought this forward, was one of the things that we would suggest maybe doing too is, rather than necessarily forming a full-fledged subcommittee, maybe you just plan on 1 or 2 meetings that you just extend the meetings for half an hour, and you address those topics during that half-hour period where you all are here and working through that together. And then there's not a need for necessarily another committee and all of the additional work.
JR?
I agree with that, but is are Carla and Therese still in the room?
No, they left.
They've left.
Okay. There's going to be something that's going to come up later on. Both of those people, along with Richard Nash, have had interest on helping with the maintenance of our statues and working with Brandon. So those are 3 people right there that aren't even on the Art Commission. That if we formed the right subcommittee with a commissioner, we can help Brandon and we can help staff. And as I know later on, we talk about our roles and responsibilities, and I believe that if the subcommittee, if we involve Sandy and say, these are what they're proposing, the Art Commission is proposing as a subcommittee, she could report to you. And I think, given the fact that we have an art plan that is completely different and it is not on the city's priorities, when I looked at where you guys are, when I say you, us, the art plan is huge, but it's not one of the city's priorities. You guys have bigger stuff to do, and we understand that. But I think involving Sandy and making sure that Sabrina's clued in, we can let you know what we're doing, and everything that you've said about keeping records for subcommittees could work. But this art plan is huge, and you're gonna need help. There's not enough staff, and we don't have enough free time to waste. Waste is the wrong word. But we might have to roll up our sleeves and get dirty on some of these things, but we would keep you advised. And I'd love to meet with you one-on-one with this, Mr. Mayor, or meet with Sabrina, or whatever it takes, so that we can help move this art plan forward, because we're different. So, thanks for listening.
Thank you. These are things that we're talking about, and I know some of the other committees have even asked and said, can the chair sit down with the mayor and Sabrina and have a conversation about what specifically your goals and priorities are for us as well. So we are having those conversations. We're happy to schedule those meetings. I also want to say, with some of the things that we're working on this year, we're also working with Human Resources on a more in-depth volunteer program, so that there are things like working on these art pieces or other projects around the city that community members can get involved in. So those are also on our list of things that we're working on too, because we want to make sure that if people are getting involved in those efforts, that they're done safely, that they meet our requirements, and that we have support for that. So those are some of the things that we're also working on as well. But I am looking forward to getting more involved, as you put it, and being a part of this process.
Oh, right, Cynthia, please.
Thank you. I just had another question in addition to what we've just talked about. So other committees, will just use Adopt a Park as an example. And I know that makes Brandon go crazy, but we mirrored that with the idea of Adopt a Sculpture, right? So as you work with HR to develop those volunteer programs, could you, or if it's already in existence, is there a way or a path for any of us as arts commissioners to get through a certain vetting process to where, I'll raise my hand, for 3 hours a week to come in and help just the pipeline process of getting our ideas to our commissioners if staff doesn't have time to dedicate it as a priority where we're anxious to see that pipeline move, like I said, to get to workshop, to make it in to get it to a presentation that Sandy can say to council, hey, they're ready to present this at a workshop, and work with you, Sabrina, to show council what 20 ideas are in the pipeline and where this body has ranked them to see if it is in line with their vision as well for the city.
Yeah, I love the concept of an adopt a sculpture, way of looking at this. Brandon and I were just talking recently about volunteer programs and what they look like, and then I met with some of our human resources staff in the last few days, and we talked about what does that shift look like? How could these programs work? So we are looking at examples from other communities and what they're doing. So if you have those ideas, please feel free to share those with me. I do want to work with staff as we develop those, and sometimes some of those ideas are easier to start from when we can pull from somebody else who's doing it well and use that as an example. So we are looking at those ideas and look forward to working with you on putting those into place.
Great, thank you.
Sandy?
For clarification, you were talking about subcommittee reporting. So I want to make sure I'm understanding what you're saying. Because, Mr. Mayor, you mentioned staying an extra half an hour and doing a subcommittee work, but as long as there are minutes taken and reported, if a subcommittee of this commission wanted to get together and do an hour-long subcommittee meeting, there's nothing wrong with that, correct? As long as it's reported properly?
No, again, the half-hour suggestion specifically in that scenario was more probably applicable to them, whereas in your situation, maybe you actually do need a subcommittee and to plan things out that way. Again, we're fine with it. It's all about making sure that we're being transparent with the information and retaining the records that are required, because if there ever were a public records request, as you all know, we live in a very litigious world today, and people are filing lawsuits over anything when it relates to public records. So we need to make sure that we're maintaining the integrity of those public records at all times. So,
Thank you. Valerie?
I was only on one subcommittee, primarily with JR, and I just felt like there was way more people at the round table, and we were able to express our thoughts a little bit more freely, let them bounce off, than versus when we're here. So that would be my only thing with promoting to do a subcommittee. And if someone's not here or able to record it, like video record it, we could always record it by sound and then have it transcribed so that we could have it for public record, if that's something that could be thought of, possibly. It's not something that I even think needs to happen monthly. It could be like every 3 months.
Yes, Cynthia?
Valerie, I think you're thinking of our workshop.
No, JR and I were on one that we would meet in Brian's office at one point.
JR?
That was like special meetings and committees.
I think
or
that was
something like-
special events.
Special events and stuff.
Yeah.
But that was a while ago.
That was
though.
that was
yeah.
pre-art plan.
Yeah, that was pre-art plan, I will say that.
And so we tabled that committee
But I thought that
while
was
we
a
were working through stuff.
productive committee.
Yes, I think,
So
I
that's the
agree.
only reason why I think subcommittees could be helpful, or workshops.
And then I
And
have
Cynthia?
one other question for Sabrina and Mayor. So we have been privileged to take a roadshow out to community and met with school district teachers and Superintendent Kuskaibula, and also met with Main Street. We are scheduled to meet with the Garden Club, and I know JR also met with the Soroptimist group, which was part of our outreach plan, was to let these community groups know of our plan and our intention to try to find partners if they have ideas to help things along as stakeholders out there. And at the Main Street meeting, they voiced, oh, well, we were thinking of that too. So the idea was germinated that Tracy would sit in on their visibility, I don't think that's the right term, visibility group as an Arts Commission liaison. Is that role not acceptable for us to do?
I don't think we have anything specifically laid out in your bylaws about that. And when we look at bylaws, we typically look at revisions we can make over time, or council will say, hey, there's a general thing we want to add. For example, the interviewing that we've been doing as potential people apply to be on a board or commission. So I would say I don't see an issue with that. And I think the big thing is, one, always watch out for your quorum. Make sure you're taking notes. Don't have serial meetings over emails. And if somebody's going somewhere else representing this commission, that they're coming back and reporting back about what was discussed or provided, so that there is that communication. I think that's the one key thing that this administration under this mayor is trying to really work on, is this communication and opening up that line, so that there wasn't a conversation over here that you guys aren't getting, and there's an expectation then that something's going to happen that nobody knew about. So we really want to have this dialogue, whether it's with staff, from council, with the mayor's office, that we're having this open communication about what is being discussed, and that we're all moving forward together in the direction that the Arts Commission and the city wants to see.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And I have a final question then. Just for clarity, when you mentioned about that we would have a liaison with the city, and that person would come back to us with ideas. So I just wanted to ask for a little clarity about that. Considering what our specialty is, considering our art plan, and considering our historic interaction, oftentimes this body right here is the one generating the ideas coming to the city. So the communication goes the other direction. And then the city comes back with, yes, we can do that. This is how we can do that. No, we can't do that. Types of reaction. So I just wanted to put that out there, considering the
and I
nature
think-
of our
And
community.
I think that you're absolutely correct, that it's just sometimes when an idea might be presented to staff, and then they come in and internally there's a discussion, and that may not work because of something else that's planned or budget or whatever, then what we do is, instead of just saying this isn't going to work, we try to find an alternative solution. They'll bring back an alternative suggestion and solution, and multiple, hopefully. And that's where I'm saying that they'll have ideas. That was what I was meaning by that. But most of the creative thinking is definitely done up there. I am not that person for sure. So.
Thank you, that's perfect.
And I will say, one of the things we're working with staff on, and Brandon and I just talked about this today, is really working on, we have what we call agenda bills that we present to council. And it's the document that outlines what it is that we're doing. It tells the background, it explains where this came about, it talks about the funding, it gives council an overview of what's happening. And what we're really working with staff on is, in preparation for going to council, let's bring those documents to the advisory board. You walk through the document, you talk about that information, it's all gathered together, and then it's packaged very nicely with your recommendation to council. So now council's getting that document that they're used to seeing, all of the information that this group has talked about, and a recommendation from this body saying, hey, we like this idea, or we like this idea, but we have some concerns and we also have some alternatives that staff's brought about. So it allows an opportunity for people to see the full perspective of how we got to the final product. It also provides some documentation for the future when somebody 4 years, 10 years down the road says, how the heck did the city create that item? There's the background and the history of how we got here.
And really quickly to follow up on that, theoretically, that would all go through a workshop first, right? Like we would have already gone through the entire process with you all. Then that would go through a workshop, and then any feedback or discussion would happen at a workshop with council, where that's where the work should be done. And then if there was anything where we felt like we needed to come back to you because there was just a lot of pushback from council, or if there were just any issues, we would come back and we would rework it, and then it would go through workshop again. Or if it were ready, then to go to council. But the idea is when we take it to council, it's merely a formality at that point. The work should already be done. That's the idea. It doesn't always work that way, but that's what we're working towards. We're really getting pretty good at it, I think, but that's the idea. Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. Joe?
Hey, sorry, long-time listener, first-time caller. So is this process already happening? Are we being presented these things already, or is this something new in the pipeline?
This is something that we're really working on with staff. We think it'll make this process easier, and part of it is we've been working with our council, as Councilmember Peterson knows, where we've added a workshop, as Mayor talked about. We have workshops where we do the work, and we're moving to action-oriented regular meetings. So we call them a regular city council meeting. And at those, typically now what's happened is we've done the workshop, had the discussions, addressed all the concerns or items, and then we're bringing it into consent agenda or as an action item at the council meeting where the council can then vote on it. So that's a shift that we're making.
So like the packet that we were just finalizing before we came out here, I think there are like 9 or 10 items on consent agenda. Those are all items that have already been worked through this entire process. Normally, in the past, those would have all had to go through a process, and we would have been here until 11 or 12 o'clock at night. And the idea is that we've already worked through all this. Now we should just be able to vote and say it's all done. So.
Understood, thank you for that explanation. Any other questions? JR?
Completely agree with everything you said, and I find it a little bit ironic that you talk about workshops to get things done, to simplify things so your meetings go. We're trying to mirror that also. Mm-hmm. And I'll be blunt, when you say staff, we still don't know who staff is from an art commission standpoint.
Okay.
And that's, to be blunt, we have asked for some things and we're told staff has it, and we still don't have it. And the big thing that we have right now, unique to, I think, to anybody else, is we, the city, approved the art plan. And if you take a look at this art plan, it is very robust, and the people that you're looking at on that table, it's not enough for 7 volunteers to go do this, and maybe 1 staff. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's important for us collectively to work through this. And you are absolutely right on all the litigation, on the transparency is key. Mm-hmm. But this thing is huge, and it has great potential, and it's really going to involve a lot of people rolling up their sleeves and getting to work. And because it is not on the top priority for the city, being honest, I looked at what the top 10, we're not there. The art is not there, which means that the little people have to work a lot harder to get it so that you guys can focus on big things. Mm-hmm. And we want to help. And that's where the volunteers and everything, we want to help. So that's all I got to say. Let's play ball.
So one of the things that I will say is help us help you in that sense. We are really trying to work on, for example, tonight, when there was a conversation or a pre-conversation about, we want to talk about the budget. We want to, Chaz Webster's here to represent finance and have those conversations. If you're in the process of doing a procurement where you want to purchase something and you want to make sure you're doing it right, we have staff that can assist with that. We can work with you to help have the right staff at these meetings. It may mean that we have to say, hey, let's have that on the docket for the next meeting or add that to the agenda, but it will allow us to help you get the right people in the room so that we can have those conversations.
Thank you. Oh, yes, Cynthia, please.
Of course, I have more to say to Sabrina. So we're really trying to get there 100%. The plan is new. The tools in the toolbox within that plan are new. And we're really biting at the bit to put it into play. The first step for us is to hear Chaz tonight about the budgeting process so we can determine the best dates on the calendar for our biannual workshops. Within that workshop, and I'm going to use the first one that's probably a little past due, but we'll use the first one, hopefully it's in April or May if it's not out of line with budget. We've got 20 items, 20 ideas to prioritize between we've got funds to do this. So it's going to be project by project, and there's processes within the plan to handle all of that. So we will have to do it, but it won't be in a forum setting. It'll be council gets to see the 20 items and the priorities we've given it, because there's some low-hanging fruit, and then there's bigger ideas that have to be assigned a arts commissioner to lead the way on the project. But the idea with getting it before budgeting is that we could, and we have money. Everybody wants this pot of money that the Arts Commission has. We know we're going to have to be paying for the maintenance on this. We know last 2 years ago, we saw some budget numbers surrounding insurance. We weren't really clear on what those insurance fees were for. So it's educating us on what's already coming out of this fund. But it's also going to be an ask on hopefully a consent agenda item after workshops with council of we want this much money budgeted for us for the next year. So it's, it will be item by item, but we're trying to work to the process that it's one big ask of council within that annual budgeting process. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense. I think the challenge in government that Mayor and I talk about a lot is I think we always want to say, oh, I can make the list of 10, let's say, and I tell you the 10, we do the 10, and we're done. Government, I love to say, doesn't always work that way. Government sometimes is that we have, the 10 items and we're working through the 10 items, but it's item 1 and 3 that we're able to get through because we have to do the resolution for placement. We have to do the, groundbreaking.
Exactly.
We have to do the engineering. We have to do the permitting. And so all of these pieces that go into it, we're not trying to slow down the process, but we want to make sure we're following the appropriate steps. And so that is part of the conversation. So I think we just want to make sure that as we're doing this, that we're following that process and doing it correctly. And so staff, and in fact, Brandon and I, when we met today, that was one of the subject matters, was working with Maggie to say, how do we do the outreach and communication? What steps in the process are we in? What documents do we need to do? And then what does this look like? And what is the alternative if the main option that we all like may not work out, so that we're prepared with a backup plan in place? So yes, we agree. We want to get a plan in place and have that moving forward.
Perfect, thank you. And just to add what Cynthia said when we were evaluating, we have outlined criteria. Things like, how many, is it involving the entire community or a small segment of it? Does it add to any wayfinding? I mean, so we have a strong set of criteria that we'll be basing all of these ideas upon and prioritizing. And low-hanging fruit, we're hoping, will be ones that don't have as much logistics for the city, things that we can just get some visibility on and get them done and get them out there. So you'll see that when we present our ideas.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Thanks. Any other questions? Comments? Wonderful. I think we can, thank you guys. I think we
right.
can finally move forward.
Well, thanks for allowing us to be here. You guys have a good meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. We really appreciate the explanations. So we're going to talk next about a celebration plan, some ideas on how do we want to celebrate the Ken and Brew installation when it is complete.
JR, do you want to address that, or do you want me to comment?
Knock yourself out.
Cynthia.
So I would suggest that this discussion is tabled until our workshop, because the idea around celebrations for the Ken and Brew would then become a process for our art installations and/or reveal of a wrap box, or it would be a procedure for all things.
So to incorporate that into another of our tools from our
Right.
art plan, that
Right.
this is how we go about
Correct. As
celebrating
an acknowledgement
installations.
of our past commissioners.
Right.
So that would be my suggestion, is that we table this discussion for our workshop.
Any comment?
Just a question.
Yes, Joe?
Bring me up to speed on which installation this is. I'm unfamiliar with.
Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to get a little review of what that particular installation is.
Cynthia?
so I think it was almost 10 years ago, that's a little embarrassing to say out loud, the city acquired 4 metal sculptures. The artist's name is Ken and Brew. That's what you see there.
Gotcha.
2 of which have been installed in town. One is in the Pocket Park across from 7-Eleven at that intersection there. And the other is at the Boys and Girls Club. There are 2 left. There were 4.
Okay.
So Brandon has been working, and we've gotten to the point that we hope by spring we'll see the last 2 installed, all of which have gotten approval from the city, from location to budgeting for the cost of the installation. The 2 left are called the Gate of Inspiration and 3 Totems.
Okay.
3 Totems is set to go into Sumner, is that right?
Yes, so I have just a little bit of an update.
Oh, let me finish, and then you'll do it.
Okay.
So Sumner Park, that's the right
for
park.
The 3 totems is
Yeah.
what you said? Yes.
Okay, and then the last is set to go at the trailhead at Friend Marsh down by Windjammer Park.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Good to know.
okay.
Okay, so we've had a request from administration, and as Sabrina had said, we would like to start doing agenda bills for everything that we're doing. So we've been requested to put it into an agenda bill. I'm still getting training on how to actually make an agenda bill and put it into the civic clerk. But we're requested for agenda bill, and they are also requesting alternate locations for the statues. And just as a double check, so this.
No, and just to be clear, when Brandon says alternate, I think, Cynthia, you're worried that, or Commissioner Mason, that we're talking about completely changing location sites. That was not the objective. We have a lot of requests related to our parks right now. If you've been paying attention to the meetings that we're having around parks, park space, pickleball, I'm missing some sports, tennis, basketball. There are a lot of requests for our parks. So when we think about spacing items into our parks, we're trying to be considerate of both, future actions that might happen in those parks, because we don't want to place art, move the art, have something happen with the art. So we're really just being aware and looking at what those impacts might be. So just giving you guys a sense of what's going on in those parks as part of this update.
So, I'm sorry.
No,
may I?
go, please.
So, in relation to the Ken and Brews, I think I mentioned it's been 10 years. So, we're not backtracking on anything. You're just saying this is a formality with new procedure, that it's all been approved already where it is.
We have a placement location that was approved through a resolution?
Yeah, and I'll find it. I'll find
No,
all of
that's
it.
okay. And I think it's just a matter of
Yes.
where in the park. It's not
Yes.
taking it out of the park. It was where in the park
Yeah.
that we were looking at and
Okay.
just confirming. So again, not moving it out of the
Okay.
park, so to speak, but looking at where in the park it's located because of some of the future construction
Okay.
plans that are going on. So I think that was a clarification that might have gotten lost in this discussion.
Okay.
It was not out of Sumner Park. It was looking at the actual placement within Sumner Park.
Okay, and I believe there was a resolution that approved that, but I can go back and look.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
that's what I'm saying, not out of the park, just
Okay.
because, again, there's a lot of talk going on around our parks and using those spaces.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sabrina. Thank you, Brandon. Any other comments about moving and tabling this topic and for our workshop? motion then for moving this to our workshop?
I'll make that motion. I'd like to learn more about this. So I'm moving, yeah, I mean,
First, okay, wonderful,
I'll go ahead and second.
wonderful, thank you. Is this something we need to vote on? Total?
Yes.
Okay. I call for a vote of...
Pardon me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sandy, please.
Thank you. I wasn't sure, what I heard was, I'll make that motion, nah, 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 nah. I don't have any idea what motion you just made. Could you, if the person who's taking minutes needs that, would you please be more clear?
I make a motion that we table the conversation about the Cannon Brew celebration and this topic for the workshop.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Got it. I'll second that motion.
Thank you. And call for all to vote. Are we in approval? Yes, no? Yes?
Yes.
I don't see JR. Okay, there we go. Okay.
So I just have a question for the commission. We're talking about a future workshop that you want to have. Is somebody keeping a list, besides our secretary who's always recording, is somebody keeping a list of all of the items you're moving to that workshop? Just because I want to make sure that there's not an expectation of items for staff to produce that we weren't aware of.
Cynthia.
Yes, we have been collectively since, I'm sorry, my mic wasn't on. We have, as a group, collectively kept track.
Okay.
And it started with tabling ideas when plan discussion began back in 2025.
Okay.
So it's basically pipeline ideas, and part of the celebrations, recognitions, and there was one more thing. JR, help me out now. Subcommittees. That was it. That's the workshop discussion.
Okay, that's perfect. I
Yep.
just wanted to make sure that we're keeping
Yep.
that list running.
Yep.
Thank you. So our next agenda item, glasses would help, art sculpture and maintenance plan, and our top 3 pieces that need maintenance. So as a full discussion, but I believe, Brandon, you have done a lot of work toward this topic.
Yes, let me share my screen here. Okay. So, this is what I've been able to put together for right now. It's a bit of a rough draft.
Sorry,
but-
Brandon.
Yep.
It's hard to read for us.
Okay, sorry, yep.
Down in the lower right corner, there's the 100%. You can see to move that up a little bit, a little dial.
And I don't know if it's possible, but I can't see it at all.
Oh,
Oh, keep going. There we go.
Okay,
even better.
all right, can everybody see it now? Oh, okay. JR, I will make sure that you get a copy of this sent after the meeting. Okay. So the standard operating procedures, this is a overview. So we've got the purpose of the standard operating procedures. We go down in to the roles and responsibilities. I've broken out the Parks Maintenance staff, Parks Department, and the Arts Commission, contracted conservators, and artists themselves. We've got general maintenance practices, so this is just a high-level overview for all of the art statues. So we've got annual condition assessment, routine surface cleaning, graffiti response, environmental monitoring, record keeping, and then we go down into the specific, material specific. So out there, we have a lot of different types of statues. We've got wood artwork, so the right here is the twice a year yearly protective finish is the suggestion and the frequency, and then I've got a table underneath it too. So wood artwork twice a year, yearly protective finish, the Cortine steel yearly or more frequently, that's going to be a wash and just a wash of the Cortine steel. Concrete is a quarterly deep clean, scrubbing with water and a brush stone, the basalt, the marble, limestone, Cascade granite is a yearly sealant applied twice to, or 3 to 4 times every 3 to 4 times per year. I can pretty much guarantee you that we have never sealed any of those out there. So that would be something to consider. Differences between.
Brandon,
Yep.
would you back that up?
Uh-huh.
It says yearly.
I know.
Sealant
I
applied
saw
every
that.
3 to 4 years. I'm confused by that.
Yes, so that is it's a yearly clean. So it's a yearly scrub with a brush, water and soapy water. And then a 3 to 5 year, every 3 to 4 years is applied as sealant.
Thank you.
Of course. So there's a little bit difference between the basalt and the Cascade granite, and then the marble and the limestone. Bronze, twice per year is going to be the clean with a mild soapy water, and then the wax coating of at least once per year. That's really dependent on how you would like the bronze statue to look. If you like the patina, then we don't have to do anything to it. If you would like it to look like a nice polished bronze statue, then we'll have to put some wax on it. Stainless steel would be a twice a year cleaning with a non-chlorinated cleaner, a yearly wax coating. Again, I don't believe that that's ever been waxed. I'm thinking of Moonwaves down at the end of Pioneer. Copper, cleaned or that should be done every 2 years with a protective wax coating, rinsed annually. Again, powder coated metal, murals, kinetic artwork. So we get down here, this is the little bit of an easier to read schedule, broken out into just best practices for monthly, quarterly, annual, and 3 to 5 years. We can tweak all of this. Obviously, the more that you're looking at these statues, that you're going out and looking at them, the more expensive it gets. So if we reduce some of this, then we could cut some costs. But this is just a little bit of a table with all of the things that we just looked at. Safety considerations. I'm working to broaden this. This is not nearly as much. We've got height, elevation, so I've got another document that I'm working on. I haven't had all the time to put it in here, so whenever I get that chance, I will get there. And then the documentation procedure, so we're going to record all the inspections, the findings, and then I added the routine and the preventative maintenance checklist that we do have from the arts plan. When to contact a professional conservator. I think that's very important to, there's going to be stuff that we're going to be able to do on our own with volunteers and our general know-how, and then there's going to be some stuff that is going to be a little bit more specialized. Whenever I get into the 3 suggested art pieces for renovation, I'll explain a little more of the specialized, because one of them is going to be more specialized. And then the revision of the schedule, we should just take a look at this. I put every 3 years, but I'm up for every year. A yearly review, I think, makes sense, but it just depends, I think, on how frequently we are getting new art pieces. If we're getting multiple new art pieces a year, then it has to be done yearly for sure. If it's a couple years between new art pieces, I don't know that we necessarily need to revise the maintenance schedule. So that is what I have been able to put together so far. I am here for questions.
Great. Actually, my first question, if that's, your document is something that we can receive, so we can actually have a copy of it?
Of course, yes, I will send it out.
Love.
Yep.
My next question, twofold for you. Where are you seeing concerns? Where do you have concerns? And then where do you see as some first next steps that we all can take toward having a finalization?
Can you clarify the question of what concerns with what?
That either you don't have enough of something, or that you that this is too big to take on, or that you don't have enough information, or you don't have enough people, or you don't have enough. As an example.
I think that that's all just relative to what we're going to try to do. If we're going to try to clean all of the statues this year, then I don't have enough people, I don't have enough budget, I probably don't have enough time or enough expertise to do it. If we're going to chip away at the inventory, then I think it's completely manageable to do. We're going to have to be realistic with everybody's expertise and experience. I have park staff. I've got one woodworker that is very, very handy, and he has been doing the renovation on the the Acorn. So he has been working on that. I feel confident with him, but I don't know what everybody else's experience is with artwork. My guess is it's pretty low. So if we are putting on wax and scrubbing and doing soapy water, I think that's, of course, we can do that. If we're getting into stucco and painting and airbrushing, no, we cannot take that. So I think there's going to be some stuff that we're absolutely going to be able to do in-house, and I think there's going to be some stuff that we're going to have to contract out, and whatever, we'll just have to figure that out whenever. It's going to be piece by piece, art piece by art piece.
Gotcha. Joe?
Yeah, hey, Brandon, another freshman question. Do we have a list online or of all the art installations we have in the city?
Oh man, that's a rough question. For
We
the
actually
art.
do.
We do, because it is in the art plan. It's something new that we have. It is online. It is on the art page, and it will take you to another page. It's beautiful, actually. Yes, everything is laid out, and it's got GPS on where the actual
Thank you.
statues are.
Cynthia?
So, to Joe's point, and Sabrina, I'm looping you in this because my brain is processed this. So we have not, I think our inventory is up over 50, believe it or not. But that includes some
Yes, it
privately
does.
held murals downtown. And there's probably 7.
Some
So let's-
kinetic art
yeah,
is
so
not
let's
ours
say
as well.
42 to 45 pieces. So my brain tells me that the inventory should drive the checklist going into the maintenance schedule by need versus your SOP blanketing everything and trying to take it all at once. And then how do you see that in the budgeting process? Because
Right.
your time's expensive. Volunteer time is not. So how are we gonna merge a volunteer program into this? And it's gonna take time to get it up and running. And so until then, how is our budget affected, Sabrina?
So I think what I'd like to say is I want to sit down with Brandon. He likes to, we've been having some fun quality time looking at different projects. I think what we should do with this is look at that inventory list. Like I said, I think we were having the same thought. Brandon and I should sit down, have a conversation about the inventory list and this SOP and really chart out what could potentially be volunteer, what could potentially be staff, what could be consultant that we'd need to, or an expert that we'd hire. And then that would be what we could then talk to Chaz about for budgeting perspective and work with our vendors to identify what does that list look like going into the future and bring that back to you. I will say, one of the things I've been cautioning staff on is don't overcommit yourself. So I want to give us some time to look at that and have that discussion. And Brandon is, of course, trying to fit into my schedule, so that also is an obstacle for him. So what I will do is chat with him after this meeting, and we will bring something back after we have a chance to look at that. It'll also give me a chance to dig a little deeper back into the art plan.
Correct. I'm
Cynthia?
sorry. Not correct. I didn't mean to say correct, Sabrina. But part of these ongoing processes in developing the art plan with this inventory list, Joe, we don't have the wayfaring link to it yet, but that leads into working with Parks and Rec on the park map, because I know they were putting that little emblem that there's an art piece in this park that would link to our inventory, to that specific piece to tell about the artist and where it's at, et cetera. But it was also then that part of the maintenance part of it was, we'll use the acorn as an example since Brandon brought it up earlier. We have an acorn made of wood and tag within the inventory that the acorn needs to be touched once every 3 years or whatever you decide. So it becomes this bigger maintenance binder and an active inventory.
I assume the Wayfair link is a link guiding you. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
so
okay.
sorry.
No, that's
Can I be
okay.
recognized? Is that what I need?
Yeah.
Sorry. What's the Wayfair link? What's the Wayfair?
So the idea with Parks and Rec, when one of our volunteers from that commission was working on their website, because we have our own website, meaning the Arts Commission within the city, and the Parks and Rec has their own page. So the idea was on the parks side, using Flintstone Park as an example. Flintstone Park would have a little, I've got an art piece in Flintstone Park. It's called the Angel of Creativity, and you could hit that hyperlink, and it would tell you about the Angel of Creativity within our inventory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Valerie?
I'm pretty sure Carrie Stuckey was working on
Yeah.
that for us, and it was going to be accessible on Google, because that was one of the questions I had for JR last month, is like, how come I can't Google statues in Oak Harbor and
Yeah.
find it on Google?
It's all in,
Yeah,
it's all
in the
part of the
process.
plan, Sabrina.
Yes.
Joe?
Hello. Going back to the maintenance thing, I can't imagine that any of this work is not being done in some kind of a project management suite. Am I inaccurate in that? Do you guys have like a project management suite with a Gantt chart and tasks and people being assigned and communication and all?
Not currently, and I think that's part of this whole arts plan, setting up the system, et cetera, that we're working on. And that's, in fact, I mean, Brandon had a very minimal meeting with me this week where we talked about some of these things that we need to be working on, and we knew we had this meeting as well.
Okay.
Anybody online, JR or Robert?
Absolutely. No, I'm going first. Let's not
JR?
forget. Yeah. Let's not forget how we got here. Richard Nash came and made a public comment and basically brought to attention to everyone that our art maintenance plan was not working very well. He had a subsequent meeting, and he has volunteered. The two people that walked out earlier, Carla and Therese, who've been instrumental in making some of these art pieces appear, they have volunteered. They want to see this work. And if we had formed, Sabrina, I know you're sitting there, but you're not aware of what's going on. Brandon is. But if we could form a subcommittee right away, Brandon, do you know who to call to get volunteers? You don't. Do you know exactly what to do for each special type of art? No, you don't. But there are people that are willing to help, that would form a subcommittee to nail this down, and then we can figure out, prioritize exactly what Cynthia said, what can be done by the Kiwanis, the garden club. Soap and water, a kid could do it, maybe. We don't know yet. But what you've outlined right now is brilliant. It is a long time coming. And now the next step would be have a couple more minds to look at this thing. And we promised Richard Nash that this was going to stay on the Art Commission agenda until this maintenance plan was adopted. Ta-da, I'm done.
Robert, did you have anything that you wanted to add?
I'd just be willing to help do some of the cleaning and maintenance if need be. I'm available, and I have kids that can help as well.
Fantastic. And actually I'm glad you brought that up, because Reese, our student rep that's unfortunately wasn't able to make it tonight, on our February meeting, she did offer that there would be a big volunteer opportunity at the schools.
So I think those are great, and we're very excited about those. One of the things we have to always caution as a city is we have insurance agencies and we have risk. And so that is why we're developing a volunteer program. I know those are the words that are difficult because we all want to get activated and do these things. But we also, if somebody falls while working on that soap and water, and sues the city, we have a different problem. So what we want to do is make sure that we have all of the processes in place to assist the community doing this well and right. And we also want to provide the tools necessary to complete the task. And our staff is very good about doing that, especially when we're talking about people working in areas near roadways or other places. So we're really trying to work on getting this information together, having volunteer plans that allow people to know when they're going out, making sure we're documenting who's doing it. It also allows us to thank our volunteers. If we have an appropriate plan together, then when people are doing this work, we can show appreciation for the work that they're providing. So it's really a full circle effect that we're trying to create here.
Wonderful. Valerie?
I just wanted to say thank you, Sabrina, for mentioning that you're developing that program. As I have someone that's entering in high school, I know they have to do 5 volunteer hours every year. So that's a big, and Oak Harbor High School is a pretty big high school. So, I mean, as long as it's safe and everyone's safe and they're able to do it, I think that's a big reach in our community. Also, the college, and they're adults, so it might be a little bit more insurance friendly. I don't know.
Yeah, and we're excited about that. I came from the city that I came from. We had a really great volunteer program, and one of the things I loved the most was students being able to receive letters of thanks from city leaders, mayors. It really helped them with their college applications later. So again, looking at this program fully to say, how do we hit all these markers? Because again, what gets more volunteers is people being able to say, I volunteered for them, I had this great experience, this is what I got out of that. So we want to develop the right program going forward. And I appreciate the work that staff's putting into this about thinking about all of those factors.
Perfect. Joe?
Yeah, I'd like to suggest, it's just a suggestion, maybe we should start to put together a list of people that we think would love to volunteer and create some momentum and submit them to the city. And then as they go through their process, they can approve or counsel those people on how it's going to be done. So we are already well ahead of the workload, that it's pretty obvious what needs to be done, right? Just a suggestion.
No, great idea. Thank you. So Brandon, what next step do you have for yourself? What next step is something like what Joe suggested that this body can help you with?
I think, honestly, I do think JR is right with the subcommittee. I think that we need to get into a subcommittee. We need to hammer out the frequency that we would like to do. That'll give us a better idea of budgetary constraints that if we know that we are going to go out every month and put wax on the statues, then I'm going to go through a lot of wax. And that's going to be whatever you guys decide, and then we'll bring that to council for approval. And once that gets, I think we do need the subcommittee. I would say the subcommittee with Richard Nash, Carla and Teresa if they would like, and JR if he would like. I'd say that would be a good next step for this maintenance.
Great. So is that something that we can work with you on in scheduling for the next, either the end of this month or sometime in April?
Yes, we can get that on the books. I don't want to guarantee in March, but yes, we can get that on the books. I think that's very important to move this maintenance forward and start this maintenance binder.
Fantastic. Any other comments, ideas?
Go in.
Yep.
JR, that we establish the maintenance policy subcommittee tonight to include Brandon, myself, Tracy, Richard Nash, Therese Kingsbury, Carla Friend, and then others as needed. And that subcommittee would report to the Art Commission monthly.
Yeah, are you making a motion, JR?
That's my motion.
I'll second the motion.
Great. All in favor? Great, it passes.
I'm-
Oh, I'm sorry, Robert.
No, I was just saying, aye.
Aye. Fantastic. Fantastic. Any other comments on this topic?
Brandon, there's a lot on the plate, and what you've done is fantastic. And it's time for us to help you to make this work. And I think we're taking a huge step in the right direction, and it doesn't have to cost us any money right now, except for the money that we were expecting because of maintenance costs.
Thanks, JR. Okay, we're going to move on to E, the Art Commission Resolution Bylaws.
Tracy?
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry, I'm
no,
sorry.
It's okay. We still have the three.
Oh, yes,
Most,
of course.
yes.
I would love to
Nope.
hear that.
That's
Yeah.
okay. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing this, and then I'm going to try to start sharing my other screen. I think it's that. Okay. So, this, I don't know if anybody has been downtown recently. The Island Spirit statue has been hit, unfortunately, by a vehicle. So this was the first piece that I suggest to start working on. We are going to put an agenda bill together, and we're going to get this on an agenda bill to start that process. From my understanding, this got hit, I believe it was like 5 or 6 years ago. That was just it took a little while to do, so I want to get this on and start rolling again. One thing that I would like to discuss with you, so we can go through the pictures here. So yeah, it looks like it got hit from, I don't know if it's a vehicle or a truck or whatever. We've got some scuffing on the base. The base seems to be intact. It looks like there's some chipping, some light chipping up top, right there, and some scuffing on the side. And it looks like the all thread that's going through, or if that's, I'm not sure if that's all thread or if it's just rebar, but it looks to be bent, and the actual pedestal itself is kind of cocked on the concrete. I was unable to move it, throwing my shoulder into it, so it's not going to fall or anything like that. Unfortunately, though, the bronze statue on top was, it does not appear to be damaged, but it was no longer affixed to the base, so I could remove the statue. So that is what I did, and pulled the statue off. So that's what it looks like right now, and the statue is in my shop right now. So Island Spirit would be the first recommendation for repairs. The other thing that we would like to discuss is, since this is the second time within 5 or 6 years that this statue has been hit, would you guys be open to maybe moving it, or maybe discussing options of potentially moving it in other places that we could possibly move that statue, that it hopefully will not get hit again?
Joe?
What about, those like poles that you can just plug into the ground to stop cars from going, they're removable? What about putting something like that just outboard of it? Would that protect it?
I mean, I think it would protect it. My immediate thought would be it would just detract from the statue. They're usually yellow, at least the ones that are solid, that are going to hold a car back. So we could do it. Yes, we could do it, but I don't know that is what I would recommend.
And part of the goal tonight was just to make sure that we were talking to you about it, seeing what your considerations or options were. But since this is a second repair, we didn't want to not have the conversation about, is this something that you want to consider? So we're just putting the options on the table for the commission to discuss. So I asked Brandon to make sure that we were talking about it, because it is a concern that it's been hit again. And I think too, when you think about the locations of the cars that are parked there, the bigger the vehicles are, they just can't see. It's a difficult issue to try to create ways around. And we also use those spaces for parades, other things. So anything we do on the roadway impacts other uses of those spaces.
Actually, that was when I heard that this was the second time that this statue has been hit. That was my thought, was that maybe it's time to consider moving it. Like, let's just not take a chance of, okay, just, having to repair it every 3-5 years because it keeps getting hit. So that was my thought. Any other of our commissioners have things to say? Yeah, Val.
How many other statues that are on Pioneer have been hit?
I don't have the answer to that at this moment. I'm not sure.
Cynthia?
Since they've been installed with the Pioneer Avenue work years ago, I think this is the only one that's been hit. And the first time they actually damaged the fence behind it,
Wow.
they really did.
Valerie?
Because I initially, when I looked at, because people know I'm on the art commission, they're like, hey, where's the statue? And I'm like, I don't know. And then, people say, oh, it was hit. But when you showed the original picture with the fence behind it, I know it would take away from the statue. And I don't know how much it would protect it, but just putting the black fencing around the base of it, but I don't know what that would do, if anything, kind of making it like, yeah, I don't, but other than that, I think moving, like how it's around the tree, but just doing it around the base. But I don't know if that would do anything to stop it from getting damaged again. Or deter from the statue, like with putting the yellow pillar on the corner, like Joe suggested.
I don't want to jinx ourselves, but like we've been very, very lucky with the art pieces out there, with the vandalism, and this wasn't vandalism. This was an accident, right? I wouldn't want to start doing that around the art pieces because I think it would pull way too much away from them. That's my personal opinion. I probably shouldn't have given it.
No, all personal opinions welcome. Any other comments? JR, do you have anything? Yeah.
Hey, Brandon, Sabrina, I agree with you guys. Sure, if there's another place that looks like it's safer, I wouldn't have thought that it'd be possible to hit the first time. I would have bet money that you couldn't have hit it a second time. I ain't playing that game anymore. If we can find a safer spot for that Indian, if something else comes up, sure, we can talk about that. We still got to get them fixed, so.
Okay, so staff will work on getting quotes to find out about fixing and repairing. And then in the meantime, we will also have some conversations while we're waiting for those quotes on what the potential other sites might be for this that we see as a possibility. And then we'll bring those back to you.
Wonderful. Joe?
Well, I was just going to say, after hearing it took 10 years to cite those other ones, how long would it, that was my big thing, is like, how long would it take to approve another location? So, yeah.
I hope it's not that. It was a concern we wanted to bring up because I recalled when I first started that they were still waiting for the repairs to come back because it was during COVID. I think, Cynthia, you remember that, where it was, where is this statue? Because between the artists and COVID, it was very difficult. So I don't want those to be I don't want anything to happen to the statue.
Unless you want to put them in my front yard.
Brandon,
Okay, so that was the first one. Number 2 is the Kraken. So this is the Kraken. It's right on the beginning of Pioneer Way. And as you can see from this picture, I'm not sure if this is stucco or whatever it is. This is starting to, I think it is stucco. I've done some research on some historical pictures, and it looks to be a caged base, and I have not seen any of the actual material, but it appears to be stucco to me. But we've got chipping around the base of the statue, cracking throughout. It needs cleaned. It could get polished. It could not get polished. This is copper. I'm not exactly sure what that is. I need to do a little more research. I've heard that there was an arm that got ripped off. Is that what that was?
There was one there, and then there was
Cynthia.
one across the street on the post,
Yeah.
and both of them unfortunately went missing.
Okay. So I don't know what we could do with that piece, but the stucco definitely needs addressed. And as you can see, this was painted blue. It looks to be airbrushed, I would imagine. Whenever you look at the new looking statue out there, it was very pretty. But it's seen better days. It's been weathered. So this is my second recommendation for the second repair.
Cynthia?
So, question on process, because this is part of our learning curve. Would you go back to the artist for this repair? And if not, when something's done in-house like this, Brandon, and that it can be done in-house, if it can't be done in-house, does it have to go out for RFP?
It depends on the costs, and
Okay.
we do need to get quotes a lot of times if we're doing it outside. So if we're hiring, let's say, I'm just going to pick something easy, painting, and we're going out to bid, then we usually get 3 quotes to meet our procurement process requirements. If it becomes a certain price point, then we do need to go through an RFP process. But part of what Brandon will be doing is working with our procurement team to identify what we think that looks like and then bringing that back for you to see what's going to happen. So we'll keep you informed as the process progresses.
Dovetailing on Cynthia's ask about contacting the artist, maybe at the very least, the artist can supervise or make recommendations or help fill in some of the knowledge base.
Yeah, I mean, I think best practices would be to reach out to the artist if at all possible. That doesn't mean they necessarily need to do the work, but at least to be in an advisory role of the products that they used, and hoping with the new exception of this, we'll have all of that material laid out in our acceptance of the new art pieces, and we'll have a maintenance schedule and the cleaning products and everything that we should use. So we're trying to get that template put into place with the new pieces. But yeah, I think that would be best practices. I would see no reason not to reach out to the artist and at least be in an advisory role. Maybe not commission them to necessarily do the work, but yes.
Valerie?
Since the statue is missing pieces, I mean, if we were able to get in contact with the artist, how would we go about, we're not able to do that?
You could, I'm sorry. No, you can absolutely do it. It was visited and discussed when it happened, and the cost was a lot, and the risk of it happening again because of the climate on the precious metal.
Oh, okay.
They decided not to replace it.
Okay.
Not that we couldn't revisit it again.
Yeah,
but-
just even if we replaced that one piece that's missing, because it looks ill. Give them something. All right, thank you for the explanation.
Any further discussion, comments? Anybody online? Okay, thanks, Brandon.
Okay, and then
I think you have one more.
number 3. Everybody knows what this is, Flintstone car. So pretty iconic for Oak Harbor. She's seen better days. So the landscaping, you can see the landscaping around it has definitely been nicer. There's weeds growing up in here. The concrete has a couple cracks, and it looks like the original top was replaced with this metal. The older pictures that I've seen, it's been a long time since I've seen Flintstones, but I believe they did have that little, shag or whatever around there. It looked like they had that originally, and my guess is it deteriorated, so this metal was put on top, but it can be repainted. This thing could use a lot of love.
Oh, Cynthia, please.
So I'm one of those persons that try to watch all of the reruns of things within the city. Isn't there a group in town that is trying to make this piece a historical piece of art or property with the city?
I think you're right. I think I did see something online. I don't recall where or when, Now that you say that, we can look around and see what that might have been and try to get that
Okay.
information together.
I mean, if that process is in place, I'd be curious. That's all I'm going to say about this piece.
Brandon, we can also reach out to our historical group through Stacy and have that conversation.
Valerie?
I was just doing math. It's, the Flintstones ended in 1966, and this year would be 60 years for the
Wow.
Flintstones. So I don't know if the Historical Society is looking.
Calls for a celebration.
I mean, I grew up on the Flintstones, okay? All right, but that's it.
That's a great idea. Maybe, yeah, a little celebration in 60 years.
Well,
JR. Brandon, is there any other comments?
I don't have any. Do you guys have any for me?
No, thank you. Appreciate the detail that you provided in your prioritization. JR? Anything? No? Okay. So are we ready to move on then to E? The Art Commission Resolution, Bylaw and Ordinance Amendment that we are going to be calling for an approval of the draft document as it's presented to us.
I think staff tried to include all of the things that were requested. If we missed anything, let us know.
There was something missing. So I see that, yes, on page 1 or I, yes, you did add the F, implementation, steward, and advancement of the City of Oak Harbor's art plan. Wonderful, wonderful, thank you. Page 2, B, Cynthia had brought up that when we provide, like, when a commissioner provides a notice that we are going to be missing a meeting, she had requested that instead of the word "and," that we contact all three of the people listed, that we're allowed to contact just one of them. So putting an "or" in there instead of an "and." So it says, "A commissioner shall contact the chair, comma, staff liaison, comma, and commission secretary at least one day prior to the meeting." And her request was to change the "and" to an "or."
So I think one of the concerns with that is if that one person gets it and doesn't share it with others, we are all missing a connective piece of who knows that person's not coming. And because we've established rules around attendance, we just want to make sure that there's communication, especially when it gets into, say, the summer months, and multiple people think they've told somebody that they're not coming, and staff gets here and spends the time to be here, and all of a sudden we don't have anybody here to do a meeting with. That would be a challenge. So we've established some of these rules in other committees and bylaws in order to cover that.
Joe?
So would a group email notification to the entire council and all persons of interest be satisfactory?
So you can send a email to the group. Do not reply all to said email because it creates a serial meeting, which is a different problem. So yes, you could send it to the whole group and say, we just also want to make sure for staff, because we are planning and putting aside staffing to be here. So that's part of that discussion as well.
Sandy? No?
The only thing that I was thinking about when you said that, Sabrina, is if Joe's not going to be here and he sends to everybody, and then Val is not and she piles on that and says me either, that's a problem.
That's why I'm saying no reply all. Whoever else is.
Individually, I will not be here, not
Yes.
me too, right?
Yes, we need to do separate emails for those communications. Serial meetings are a big deal for the city. We sometimes get findings, we try not to. We really try to work on, and that's why you see sometimes when you get emails from staff, they say, please do not reply all. That creates a serial meeting.
Thank you. Has everyone had a chance to look over the bylaws or JR, please.
I was just questioning, because I know Kim sends the invitation out with all the notes, and right on there's the button that says accept, decline, or whatever you're not going to show. Is that does that suffice?
That's a calendar item, and she does use that sometimes to communicate. My concern with changing the or to an or statement is, let's say you just tell the chair gets busy, you're all volunteers, the chair doesn't get a chance to send it to the rest of us, and it turns out multiple people told different people that they weren't attending. So that's the reason we've set this up this way. But Kim does usually look at that, and sometimes, in fact, I'll say, hey, do we have a full advisory or commission for that meeting? And she'll say, yeah, I got 4 responses or whatever it is.
May I?
I'm happy with
Sandy.
and.
Oh, JR?
I'm happy with and.
Okay, wonderful. Sandy?
Oh, it sounded to me, JR, like maybe you were saying, how can we respond? And that responds differently than if you respond to all doing your calendar. Yes, doesn't create a serial meeting.
So with the calendar tool, as I understand it, and I'm not using one right now, so I'm going to assume I'm recalling this correctly, it will respond directly to the person unless
Right.
for some reason I select forward or do something else, because we do that a lot. And the other thing too is I sometimes even do this nowadays to prevent our staff from getting too many emails. I even accept without a response, so it goes into their calendar tool, but doesn't send an email to tell them Sabrina has accepted.
Okay, so what we have here is a few adjustments to our policies and bylaws, and we are to either make further comment or accept this draft as a group to go forward then and be presented to the council for approval. So we're at the point where we can make a motion to approve our bylaws.
I'll make a motion that we approve the bylaws as amended to present to council.
Anybody second?
I'll second the motion.
Wonderful. And call to a vote. All approve? Wonderful. Thank you. So the draft does go now, move forward for approval by the council.
Thank
So-
you.
Yeah. Well, thanks for putting the effort in and adding the art plan wordage. Yeah, we love that. Subcommittee updates. We have one current subcommittee.
And I'll make a.
Miss Cynthia.
Yeah, thank you. So Outreach Committee, Maggie was available to make some updates to the flyer and the poster that promotes our #ArtsIs campaign, and in time for the Main Street Art Walk weekend. And I got those distributed to all the vendors downtown, and it's on they have it mostly in their window, but some of them even kept it on their counters, which was very nice. And she and I are trying to find a date to revisit the postcard idea and the video idea right now. And with that, I am going to scoot out of here.
Wonderful.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you, Cynthia.
Could I jump out of order? I'm sorry.
Of course.
Just because I have to leave. This is not a subcommittee, but a member comment. The Oak Harbor Creative Arts Foundation. We have applied for a grant through Representative Rick Larson's office for, it's titled a fiscal year 2027 Community Project Funding Ask. And we applied for that at a $300,000 mark. Bragging about our relationship with the city, using our recently signed memorandum of understanding as a supporting document. So I wanted to make sure the Arts Commission knew that was submitted and is on their table for review, and we'll keep positive thoughts. The ask will provide funding for a phase 2 feasibility study The Phase 1 feasibility study is in process right now to prove donor capacity and community support, and we hope to have that wrapped up by this summer. So these funds would be very timely to see the next phase launched, should all of that fall into place for us. So,
Wonderful. Thanks, Cynthia. Yay.
Thank you.
I know.
Yes.
Wonderful. So now we have Parks and Rec Director update. So Brandon, is that, are you filling in there?
Yeah, I've got no updates at this time. My update was the SOP and what we talked about today.
Okay, bye. All right, let's move on to member comments. So maybe we can start with those that are online. So Robert.
Yes.
Do you have any, I'm sorry, that we're into the member comments, so is there anything that you would like to comment for this meeting on?
I feel like we're moving in the right direction. I wish my voice was okay. And thank you all for having me.
Thanks for attending. JR.
Yabba dabba doo.
Okay, is that the extent of your comments?
That was it, yeah. Yabba dabba
Okay,
doo.
got it. All right. Joe.
No, I've said plenty tonight, and I'm fine. Looking forward to this. I really believe getting the volunteer list together and getting momentum on that is going to be an important part of our process.
Valerie.
It was a great meeting. We got a lot discussed. I am also really excited about the volunteer program. As someone that volunteers in multiple capacities, I know lots of different outreach programs and things, and I will get my list going so we can all get on the same page, because that seems to be the general consensus is we have everyone going like this and not everybody going like this within the whole community with ARC. So we just want everyone to be in the same circle. Other than that, can't wait for next month.
Great. Sandy.
Thank you. This is an exciting group. Art's not really my thing. And so it's fun to watch the process and how it all works and to think about what is going to go someplace next and what's getting fixed. And you guys are awesome.
Thank you. Well, and I will take a couple minutes since Shaz is here. And I'm sorry we didn't add anything on the agenda specifically, but I will just ask, since I was the one that asked last meeting about our budget. And I know you and I just talked about it, but just, so it's available for everyone to understand. My question last month was, as we're looking at the budget, and we knew that there was some costs that was a big lump amount that Brian was trying to itemize out after the fact. And we weren't sure if some of that was maintenance or what part was maintenance, what part was maybe installation, maybe from the Angel of Creativity. And then that type of information would be helpful moving forward as we're trying to plan and budget and prioritize different projects and costs and whatnot. And you were explaining to me how we can make that work, even though there's some challenges.
Yes, well, I'm Chaz Webster, Finance Manager. Thank you for having me here. And we did talk about that a little earlier about a subledger. It's our project accounting. And I'm not sure, I think, Brandon, you may have used some of that. Do you know a little bit about it? If not, we'll get him caught up.
Awesome.
But we can definitely, as I explained earlier, the state auditor prescribes the certain account numbers that we have to use. They're not absolutely helpful to identify the different projects or dollar amounts that are broken out within those particular account numbers. However, we have a subledger, and it's called our project accounting, and we can do it there. So we can actually take a project and we can break it out into the different specific expenses. And there is a reporting tool to that, so we can make that available. It takes some setup, but we can definitely make that happen. I have been listening in, and I think I do want to just at least share some information with you, if that was.
Please do.
That's okay. So we are gearing up for our next biennial budget, 27-28. Finance is going to be coordinating with departments. We're going to be meeting with departments, and so that we can review and just understand what those capital projects are. So they'll provide a list. Also, they'll let us know maintenance and operating needs, so that's part of that big process. Regarding capital projects, the time frame for that is July, August, where we would actually have a special workshop for council, and departments would bring forth the certain projects that they want, to present, to be considered. I also wanted to add, if the commission identifies additional funding needs, that best path forward is through a formal written request. And what I would like to do is maybe also share, we have a capital budget form that we use with the departments. We could also provide a similar type form for this area. To give you an idea of what would be on that form is project title, description, community impact, total cost, ongoing cost, and that could be maintenance, utilities, or replacement reserve. Which you could request which fiscal year you want that in, because we're going to deal with the biennial. Proposed funding source, of course, your funding source is the 0.25% of the utility tax. Excuse me. And then council action requested, so what do you want done? So we would have a form, and that form would provide structure, and it would provide us with a record that we could review. And it actually would go through the whole vetting process that departments would have to go through as well. So I'm not quite keen on that entire process, but I think the request form might help provide some structure, some organization, some records, and we can go forward from there. But again, we do have a system where we could track a particular project for you more specifically. But we could start with this form in terms of, the planning right now at this point in time as we're heading into a new biennial.
That all sounds really helpful. Thank you. Anybody want to comment on any of that or have further questions? Okay, great. Well, thanks for answering my question. Wonderful. So we are now looking at future agenda items. Do we have any that I think we definitely, Sabrina, how do we go about scheduling a workshop?
So I think we need to understand, you have a list of items that you want to do and the workshop that you want to do. And I think this is where I just wanted to be clear on it when you got to this topic is the workshop you're saying is a longer meeting. What does your format of a workshop look like? Just so that we have a sense of what you want to have included at that.
Where that idea came from was actually the art plan, which recommends that we meet they just call it a planning meeting twice a year, so that we can review projects and schedule them through the year or table them for the following year, and associating them with a budget item, associating it with a council member, or not a council member, sorry, a commissioner that's going to be overseeing them, and then discussing, what we want to do for that year and maybe, future years. So we were thinking when we first planned it, it was going to be about 3 hours. JR.
Oh, you're muted.
We see you talking, but we can't hear you.
Okay. Sabrina, right now, Cynthia underestimated the total there are more than 20 projects that have been submitted. Some of them are, somebody wants the Bruiser. They want a statue of Bruiser. The Phil Am wants a statue. There are a lot of things, and guess what? They online, the art plan, if you go to our page, people can submit their ideas. So these ideas are coming in, and right now, that is log jammed. And I'll say it's log jammed in staff. And that was supposed to be put out to all the commissioners so that we could rate these things and figure out where they are going to go strategically, whether we're going to take them short-term, long-term, and that we were going to meet to discuss these in a workshop and again lay these all out, which is what would be a priority. We have not had a chance to discuss any of these projects. We tabled them all because we're waiting for the art plan to get done. We were waiting for the system to be put into place that would formalize inputs for art, and not just art pieces, arts, music, the performing arts. Those things are coming in, and we haven't been able to vet them. So that's why we wanted a workshop to finally take a look at all the vetting, and then we could start to prioritize this thing. It's gotten bigger, and one workshop now won't be enough. So that's where we stand, and the sooner we get this scheduled, that initial one, we could take a look at let's try to sort this all out and see where to go from there.
So what I'm hearing is you want a multi-hour session, and it sounds like the initial estimate was 4, to sit down and look at the list, but you need us to gather the list, which it sounds like is on our website. I just need to pull the data down. You want to get that list in advance so that you all have a chance to look at those ideas beforehand, and then bring those to the table to discuss. Because I think I heard 4 or 5 topics today that you guys were thinking would be at this workshop, but it actually sounds like maybe the focus of the workshop is this list. Is that what I'm hearing?
There's at least that list plus 20 others that we don't know about. Now, one potential thing that could be done is, because we really don't have anything to vote on right now for our next art commission meeting, would be to hold a regular art commission meeting and have it be a workshop. So we could do a Thursday and try to get this done in April, the first one, and we could, start eating this one bit at a time.
And Sabrina, that was what our idea was for January, but then that was changed. So we were going to take our normal January regular meeting time and just extend the hours.
Yeah, I'm just thinking you guys typically start at 5 and you want to extend it by 4 hours. That's a very long evening. So I want to make sure that's what you're proposing, is that you'd want a meeting that goes from 5 to 9 o'clock. That isn't what I want to make sure.
I thought it was 3, but Valerie.
I'm okay anytime after 2 o'clock on Thursdays. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't really want to be here till 9 o'clock. But I'm okay with the 4-hour time frame, though.
So I think we just need to look at schedules and see if that's available for everybody to attend, because that's my only concern, is we're talking about this on the fly. Some of your committee members aren't here in person, some have left, and I don't want to and I need to look at staff's calendars as well, because you're talking about a 4-hour block of time. And as I look at my council member who sits on this committee as well, I want to check their schedules. So I just think we need to look at potential dates and talk about what that looks like. And then what I'm hearing is that some of the information, and if I get this wrong, correct me, may have been submitted online. Some may be listed in other places that you have these documents of requests.
Some of the older things that were pre-art plan that were presented to us, or ideas that were talked about, were just listed on paper.
Okay, so I just need to get a hold of those papers. That's what I'm realizing. So it's getting those.
JR, again, you don't have to get a hold of these papers. They exist in the system. Liz has been the linchpin. Liz was staff. anytime somebody went to our website, to the Art Commission website and said, hey, I have an idea for a statue, they hit enter, they entered in all their data, that went to an email to Liz.
And
She then farms all those out to us as art commissioners to prioritize them and take a look and answer some strategic questions. And then we would gather that information and decide what was important. So we could take a look at this if we had all this information made available to us, because right now we don't.
Hey, JR, though, not all of them were submitted in the electronic form.
It would just
But
have
I
to fix-
believe, though, right, and I believe that Cynthia has kept that record, so she has the list of all the projects.
Okay, so
She
I
submitted-
don't mean to delay you more, but we're missing Cynthia. Liz is on vacation,
Right.
rightfully so, because our staff deserves to take their time.
Right.
So is it better to use the next meeting to talk about the lists and have what we think we have gathered from the system? Because why I was asking about the website and other lists is that if it's on the website that people are submitting, we can pull those down. The tool actually stores them in itself so that we can pull that list. But if there's other documents somewhere, I'd want to make sure we were finding those. So I guess my thought process.
Good
question-
idea. Good idea. Yes, that one will work. Let's regroup on this thing and bring in our next art commission meeting. On the agenda is workshop priorities.
That would be great, and dates, so we can all bring our calendars and think about how that works best.
Yes.
Any other comments? Joe?
I was just wondering, if we compile this list before the next meeting, we could all see it long before we even get to the meeting and start to think about it? Or are you saying you don't have the manpower to do that before this next,
No,
like a month from now?
I think my only concern is I'm hearing that there were lists and then lists in a system. So we can definitely pull from the computer system and say, hey, this is what we know we had in that system, but I need to check with staff and see if they have the
I
other
heard
paper
that.
versions.
I understand. I just wondered if any of that was possible before our next meeting.
Yes, we can definitely
And
pull
can
that
we
from the
get
system.
pizza?
I'm sorry?
Can we get pizza?
I think when we talk about the planning at the next meeting, we can talk about how we're going to get that worked out. I totally agree with
Just
that.
kidding.
Tim, we owe pizza sometimes, so
And then my question, Brandon, do you want to start the email that will set up the next meeting for the new subcommittee for the maintenance plan, or do you want me to?
Let me send that out whenever I can get with Sabrina and we can get a good time to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll send that out for you guys.
Okay, and that would still, I'm just going to suggest then, since we're on the topic of adding agenda items, that would stay on the agenda.
We're talking about the,
And that we
It'll be a
would
subcommittee report.
provide an update for the maintenance plan.
yeah, you
Whatever we
were
have
requesting
for-
me
yeah.
to send out an email to JR, Richard, Therese, and Carla to schedule a meeting for the maintenance plan, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
And then on our next, so since we're on the topic, on our
It would be a
agenda, that
subcommittee
we're
report.
asking for new agenda items for next month, that
Sure,
we
keep
will
it on.
just be providing an update.
Yeah, we can leave that on as
It'll
an
be
update.
a committee
you.
report.
What
I'm
was that,
sorry,
Jay?
JR, what was that?
It'll be a subcommittee report.
Exactly. Wonderful. Any other items for the agenda for
Just want to make
April?
sure that I don't know that we're going to have that meeting before the next scheduled meeting.
I see.
I just
I
want to put
gotcha.
that caveat out there.
Okay, then the update will be very short.
Yes, okay,
Wonderful.
yeah, we can keep that as a reoccurring.
we can have an update on the list we're making. That's what we'll have.
Perfect. Any other items that, JR, do you have anything else? No?
Yabba dabba doo.
That's going to be on the workshop. Okay. Wonderful. Okay. Then I move to, unless there's any other comments, I'm going to move to adjourn our meeting.
I'll make a second.
Wonderful. So I adjourn at 6:58.